Hi everyone, it's Sue. I'm back for Tuesday Inspiration, and I have to apologise about last week for those of you that were looking forward to my video. Life got in the way in a big way last week, so unfortunately I was unable to do a video, and I won't go into details. So here I am today. And we'll just get straight into it. So thanks for joining me. So today, as some of you might know, I am preparing for a pop-up shop that I'm doing in one of our major shopping centres here in town. And it starts on the 28th of October and goes for 7 days. So big commitment. And every spare second I've been madly making bits and pieces and journals and that sort of thing. So I go to work and I come home and work, but it's what I love, so it's all good. I'll just briefly show you what I'm working on at the moment. I've been making fabric covered journals. So these are just some of the ones that I'm working on at the moment. So hopefully I will get them done later on today or tomorrow. So, but for today, something also that I wanted to do for the pop-up shop was some greeting cards. So I'm not having huge priced items, so I'll have a few of my fully decorated journals, but I've wanted to do, you know, items that are that most people can buy, you know, like most people need a greeting card for one thing or another, and I thought I've got all the supplies, so I may as well muck around and make some. So that's what we're doing today. So I just wanted to show you that you can actually use your bits and pieces not just for your journals, but you can use them to make some greeting cards as well. So this is one that I've done, and I've dyed a heap of these envelopes as well, so they will go in the pack like that, and that's the envelope that they get with it. So I'm sort of trying to stick with that sort of vintage theme. That's what I enjoy doing, so hopefully it will be well received. And basically all this is it's just using your book papers and printables and all your bits and pieces that you probably already have. So I don't know whether you can see there, I've actually used some card that I've coffee dyed, and I've just cut it down a little bit smaller than the card base, and I have actually put some, hopefully you can see that, I've put some texture paste on there as well, just for another layer. And this one I've sprayed with I've actually sprayed it with this rose gold iridescent spray. It's a Kaiser mist. Just sprayed a little bit just for another bit of depth, layered it with some book paper, a printable, a word and some cheesecloth, and that's pretty much your card, which I think ends up being quite stunning. I quite like it anyway. I've inked all around the sides and in the inside as well. A lot of cards that are made, they are just left like that. I like to actually put an insert in mine, so I'm not 100% decided on this insert yet, but what I've done is I've coffee dyed a heap of little writing pads that I've picked up around the place, and they're probably a little bit small, but you could get away with it. So I'm just going to maybe put those in. Or I do have some of this grid paper, which I'm not 100% sold on either. And then I've got this A5 paper, which is quite nice, although I would probably fold it this way. So that's probably a nicer size, and then they can write their greeting here. And I always keep my greeting cards blank because I like blank cards. I just think it's nice, you can write your own message on there. So I don't know, what do you think, guys? I think hopefully they will be nice when they're done. So what I thought was we just make one or two of those. I have as I said, I've sort of already started doing some. This is just another one, very similar but looks different. I've just put a different word, and I've just put a die cut that I've fussy cut out there. This has got a different texture on it. Different stencil I've used there with texture paste. These I'm actually using double-sided tape, and I will put double-sided tape in there because I didn't want the card base to buckle with the glue. So, and that seems to be sticking on there quite well. So that's what I've done there. So, so that's, yeah, that's another one that I've done. I have cut, I'll give you some measurements in a minute if I can find what I've done. So I've just cut some of my cardstock that I've had in my stash for years. And you might be able to see how long it's been in my stash because it's actually fading on the corner here. I don't mind that though because I'm going to ink around anyway, so it just adds to that vintage look. So these cards here that I've made, I've actually cut the piece, the card front that's going on the card base. I've actually cut it 4 inches by 5 3/4, and they will fit on a card base 8 1/2. So open, it'll be 8 1/2 by 6. So you can get two cards out of a 12 by 12 inch sheet of cardstock. I also I found these at our Spotlight the other day, and the box, when I picked them up just before, the box just all fell apart. So they're cards and envelopes from Francheville, a basics pack, so fairly basic colours, which is what I would prefer to use anyway. Now they're a little bit smaller than these that I've done here, but we can still do them. So what I've done is I've worked out, don't mind my scrawl, so the measurements for these pre-made cards or pre-bought cards, so the front piece would be so 5 1/4, yes, 5 1/4, so you want it to go in about at least 1/8 of an inch inside the card. So 5 1/4 this way, and probably 8 1/8. No, sorry, we're not doing it the whole way. We're doing it, sorry, we'll try again. So these pre-bought cards that I bought, to fit on here, we will be cutting them 5 1/4 this way and 3 15/16 this way. But you can use any size card if you've got pre-bought cards or card stock that you've cut down already. Just measure, make sure you've got about 1/8 of an inch around, all the way around. You don't have to, I just prefer, because it just layers it again, gives it another layer, and you get that colour from the card underneath. So that's how I do it. So I'll just pop this out of the way. So today what I'm using, so I have actually prepared, as I said, I started these the other day. I have actually prepared some card fronts. So same thing, I've just cut them out of coffee stained paper, cardstock, put some texture paste on. Some of them I've sprayed, some of them I have inked, and I've just used like the applicator there, and Vintage Photo Distress Oxide. So, you know, like these coffee dye cardstocks have got images or texture on the back, so it sort of shows through the texture paste as well. That's a doily one that I've done. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of this probably is going to be covered over, but you want to see just a little bit of it. So that's what I've done. I don't know if you don't have texture paste, that's all good. It's not a drama. You don't have to do that. You can just use all different layers to actually just build your card and give it a little bit of depth. So what we might do is, so I'll just show you as well. This is the texture paste that I've used, Jo Sonja's. I've had this for quite a while, so I'm just trying to use it up. I normally like modelling paste. I prefer modelling paste. I think it's a little bit thicker, but this is fine. I've got this and I want to use it up. So, and all I did was I just used some stencils that I've got. Some Tim Holtz stencils. And that's all I've done, and I've just used a palette knife and just scraped just very randomly, just gone down like that a little bit. Haven't thought too much about where the texture's being placed. I just wanted some of it on there. I didn't want to cover the whole card though. So that's all I've used. And another good point is when you use these with texture paste, go and wash them straight away, because they'll clog up, and it's so hard to get the texture paste out of the stencils if you don't, once it's dried. So go and wash them up straight away. You're just in warm water to clean them up. So okay, so we'll get into it. I'll make at least one. Hopefully I'll make a couple just to help you guys along. I've just had a call. I had to go and pick up my daughter. Katie has Down syndrome, and she's just started living independently 12 months ago. And I've just had a call. She's quite unwell, so I've had to go and pick her up, and I've got her set up in the recliner, and she's just resting at the moment. But I'll play it by ear. I may have to rush off and tend to her. So we'll work on getting one. Hopefully we'll get a couple done. Okay. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So I don't know, we'll just grab one very randomly, and these I've just done in a production line. I've just gone through around the edges and done the tape, and then I will do some lines of tape in the middle as well, so it adheres to the card once we get going. So so I've just printed off some collage sheets, so I just thought I'd show you these as well. So these are really good just to tear up and just use bits of them. So this is, I'm going to get myself in trouble here because I can't remember actually who this is from, because I'd already torn into it. So, but as you can see, I've just roughly torn around the images. I've rolled the paper a bit and inked it up just to give it a bit of texture. So these I've printed off that I'm going to use today. So these are from Tsunami Rose. I love her pages. These are actually journal pages, but you know, I like just try and get something with, and you can use your designer scrapbooking paper as well if you want to, with few different colors on it, I guess. And so we can just tear them. So these are all Daisy at Tsunami Rose. So some beautiful papers there. I've also, I'm not a big purple person, but I decided, you know, I can't just do what I love. Other people might be looking for some purple, and like it's a real gorgeous bluey tealy colour. So these are from Artie Mays, Andrea at Artie Mays. So I've printed a couple of those off that I thought I might use as well. And these are some collage sheets from Antique Papery. So beautiful again. These are actually some journal cards, but I just thought, you know, I can tear part of those. And I've just done them on the normal weight printer paper, computer paper. So they're quite stunning as well. So that's what I thought we would work on today. And I'm going to do, I'm going to use Andrea's papers, I think. Which one will I use? Might use this one, I think. Because this stencil that I've used has got flowers on it. So for the book pages, what I'm using is just this big encyclopedia of dictionaries. And just be careful when you're putting book pages or whatever on something like this, because I did do one card up and it had some, I mean, it wasn't rude words, but it was really, you know, if you're trying to make it a nice greeting card, it really didn't sort of lend itself to a really friendly, nice greeting card, the words that were on there. So I actually had to ditch that page. So just, you know, have a bit of a look and make sure there's nothing really too bad on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tear, see this side here, it's all beautifully aged, this book. I'm actually just going to tear that, and I like to keep this to stamp stamp on and use in tags. So I'll just pop that aside. So all I do is, and another thing I like to keep as well are the numbers. So, I mean, these bits here you can use in tags as well, but I'll just tear that off and put that number aside. And then I just want to tear a piece to go down to down the height of the greeting card. So no measurements, I'm just eyeballing it all. I do like to ink that around the edges of that as well. This is quite fragile, this paper, so you have to be quite gentle with that. No sewing on these cards, which is unusual for me. I normally like to have sewing showing somewhere. But having said that, I have got some sari silk that I've sewn into a ruffle. I thought I could even add on to some of them as well. So I've just been playing around. So that's all it is just a bit of really randomly torn book paper. I quite like this flower here, whatever that flower is. So what I'm going to do, it seems such a shame to tear up this beautiful page, but the thing is, that's the beauty of when you buy printables, is that you can just print them over and over and over again. So I'm just going to tear the bulk of that page away and just tear around this image. We'll see what it looks like. Might be too big, but if it is, it doesn't matter, it can be used for something else. Okay, that's all right. So just tear it to the size that you want. I'll probably tear in there a little bit more just to define those leaves. And I'm going to ink around that as well. So I hope you've all been really well and managing to get some crafting time in. Yeah, life's just been hectic. So even though I'm stressed to the max about this pop-up shop, it's as I said, it's a huge risk and a lot of money to outlay. But I will never know. If I don't give it a go, I will never know whether it's going to work and promote my website or not. So even though I've been stressed about getting enough product made, I have been enjoying every spare second in my craft room. I'll probably burn myself out and won't do anything afterwards, but anyway, that's all right. It's not going to hurt to have a bit of a break, I suppose. Okay, so once again, as I said, like these, I love these colours, the depth of these, like the vintage look colours and the dusty pink and, you know, just a little pop of colour. This, I love the images, but it's just not, you know, like if I had a choice of 2 greeting cards, I would go for this one. But then there's people that like this sort of look as well. So that's all good. So I'm just going to just define that shape a little bit more of that flower. So basically it's just a collage put on a card. That's all it is. So I think that's quite cute, and we will put a word, and these come together quite quickly. So once if you do a production line, cut all your card fronts out, cut all your card bases out to size. Yeah, so do all your texture paste on all of them. You know, you could do your card fronts, you could tear your, if you wanted to make them all look the same. I mean, I'm going to have, probably I'll do about a dozen this sort of style, and then I'll change it and do something else. But yeah, do a production line and you'll find that they don't take as long, and then you've always got them on hand if you need a greeting card to give to somebody. And I'm just trying to put general words, so treasure, this probably obviously would be for a birthday, I guess, celebrate, just words that can be used for any sort of greeting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my glue. You can use double-sided tape if you want to. I'm just using glue because I just think it will adhere better to the texture paste. So I'm just going to stick that down. And I might actually this afternoon do a few more card fronts with texture paste. It is so stinking hot here at the moment. We're only in the beginning of October here in Australia, and it is so hot. It's ridiculously hot. Yeah, so it's a bit of a worry what it's going to be like for summer, come summer. So they won't take long to dry, is what I'm trying to say, is if I get them done. I've got a whole big table full of paper that I'm coffee dyeing at the moment because I'm making so many journals. I've run out of coffee dye paper. I don't think I've ever done that. So I've got a whole table full of coffee dye paper. Hopefully I've just filled that table up about an hour ago and it's already starting to dry. That's how hot it is. So I'll just have a drink. Okay, so see, this is looking a little bit, there's not a lot of depth of colour there for me, but having said that, we can put it on a coloured card base, which might make it pop a little bit more. No. See, I'm just not a purple person. I just really struggle with putting those colours together. See, for me, I'd probably put it on something a little bit darker just so that that sort of stands off the page, off the card a little bit more. So, and I just like that look of rolling the paper. It just adds another texture to your card. So we might choose a word. Now I've got all these, you've probably seen me dig into these before, all these words and numbers and stuff that I've printed out on my, I've got several Word documents that I've just typed up. So I've just got all these printed out. I have got some stamped words in there as well. I just saw happiness here somewhere. Some I've printed on coffee dye paper, some I've printed on white paper, but that's fine because you can just ink them up. I just like having these sort of things ready so that if I only get, you know, half an hour to do some crafting or whatever, it's all there done. I can just dig in and just get something done. I'm sure I saw happiness. Do dream big. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm dreaming. Hand stitch. Vintage. Humble. Treasure. I don't know. I like treasure. Because that can be used for any greeting, can't it, really? You know, birthday card. Thinking of you card, thank you card, you know, saying I treasure you. Do you think? Anyway, that's what I think. I'm going to just put that one on there today. So just trim it down. I just really roughly, I mean, just so that I could keep them in my tin, I just really roughly trim them out of the piece of paper that I'd printed out. And I'm going to actually put that on some craft cardstock as well. So I've just got a scrap here. And I will also once again ink around that. So yeah, poor little Katie. I don't know what we're going to do with her. She has actually had open heart surgery many years ago, and she has had the all clear, but her legs are quite purple and up to her knees. So, and of course it's a public holiday here today, so trying to get into a doctor will be ridiculous. So I'm just keeping a very close eye on her. If need be, I'll take her up to emergency. Hopefully it won't come to that. It just concerns me with her heart. Her lips aren't blue or anything like that. So as I said, she's better off being here with me. I would just stress big time if I knew that she was just at her house with her support worker, and you know, I don't know, no one looks after their kids better than their mum, I think. And I mean, even I know when I'm sick, all I want is my mum. It's nothing like mum to look after you, is there? So so she's resting at the moment, so that's all good. And then my partner Jim, he's we've actually started a diet. We think our throats are cut. He eats a lot of, excuse me, but crap. He does. It's like lollies and donuts, and he chugs liters of iced coffee, and yeah, it's shocking what he puts into his body. And I've actually fallen in, since meeting him 3 years ago, I've fallen into a little bit of that habit as well, and I've actually put on about 8 kilos since meeting him. So with us getting married in March, we thought, and going on a beautiful long honeymoon, we thought maybe we should probably try and get a bit healthy and lose a little bit of weight. So he's actually, I'm still in my moon boot, so I can't do any physical exercise or any, well, I can do physical exercise, but nothing like what I would like to. So he's actually, because it's so hot, he's actually, which is a really good idea, gone down to one of the major shopping centres in the air conditioning, and he's going to walk around there at a fast pace for about an hour. So, which is very clever, I thought. So he's off doing that, so I thought I'd jump in and quickly get this video filmed so I can share it with you guys. Okay, so all I've done there is just layered that, probably pull a bit of that cheesecloth off. So I just want, you know, texture, just different textures to sort of stand out and just pop off the page. So I have inked around this card base. I might just make it a little bit darker, just so it stands out a little bit more. And I'll just make sure that I'm still filming. Yep. And I think, I don't know, I think I'll put it on this base. I don't love it, but as I said, I'm not a purple person, so purple is not my colour. I don't hate it, but it's just not a colour that I tend to gravitate towards. So I'm just folding that in half. I'm just making sure that that's, well, folded that in half really badly. Just bear with me for a minute, and sorry if my head gets in the way. Okay, that's a bit better. So I'm going to pop that on there. But once again, I'm just going to ink, just to give it that aged vintage look. So as I said, any of your supplies, like scraps and bits and pieces, you can make, you know, like instead of, because greeting cards cost an absolute fortune, you know, like just to get a piece of card like this that's been mass produced and something printed on it, you can pay up to $6 here in Australia. I don't know what it's like anywhere else, so it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you can go to the cheap shops and get $1 or $2 cards, same thing. They're mass produced and they're just on, you know, just plain card, no paper insert or anything. So this sort of just makes it something really special to give to somebody. Okay. So I don't know, I like to ink the inside as well. It's just me. You could add lace, which I probably will do some more. I'll do, as I said, I've got that sari silk there that I'd like to add at some stage as well. I think I need a new felt thing. It's all, and a new base. It's all getting a little bit dirty and tatty. That's right, and I was going to ink the spine of the card as well, just so it all frames it all. So it looks grey now, not purple, but that's all good. So I'm going to go ahead, if I'm in this mess, I can find my double-sided tape. Oh, you would not believe the mess I've got, guys. It's just, really is just an absolute pigsty here at the moment. That's how I work though. I just have to have everything close to me and grab it, but it does get to a point every few days I can't even think, so I have to do it, tidy up before I start again. So just really randomly, I'm just putting some of this double-sided tape down. We can get it for quite reasonable here in Australia. I know that a couple of ladies have said that it's quite expensive where they live, like America and the UK. I find for the ease and the simplicity of it, it's quite inexpensive, I feel. So I'm just going to stick that there, and once again, excuse my head if it pops in frame. Try and get that with the same border all the way around, and just press it down so that that double-sided tape adheres to the card base. So very simple, not much to it, but it's a different type of card than what you would go into a news agency or a cheap store and pick up something that's mass-produced that you can get anywhere. And I'd probably pop something like that inside just to add to the vintage feel. When I do that, I don't think I have any thin tape. All I do is I just cut, normally I have like 1/4 inch tape. I just cut a tiny little piece of double-sided tape, and I put it, actually I put it onto the paper, put it on the insert piece, and I just pop that into the spine there like that, close the card up, press it down, so when they open it up, it's actually stuck in there as well. So there you have your card, and couple it with one of these beautiful envelopes. You've got a beautiful little vintage greeting card. I like them. I think they're quite cute. Don't take a lot of time, and we've all got, if you do junk journaling, we've all got the supplies to do them. So, you know, if you're stuck for inspiration, you can't get into your journals, grab out some of your supplies and just make a few greeting cards, because we all use greeting cards, don't we? Seriously. All right, well, we might just do one more, and then we will leave it for today. Hopefully that inspires some of you to use your supplies a little bit differently. So this one, I don't know whether you can see, I've used that doily stencil. So once again, I'm probably going to cover up a lot of it. This one I might use one of Daisy's, because they're a little bit brighter, a bit more colour in there. I really like this. I think I'm going to tear that rose and that bee out. So on these as well, you can add, which I might actually do on this, like a butterfly or something. I'll have to find them. Have I got any? I've got like butterflies in a folder here, but I mean, I probably wouldn't add this one, but you could, I mean, well, there's nothing wrong with that, but you could add a butterfly as well, which is quite cute. You know what? I'm just going to add him there because, I mean, the colours go with everything. Same thing, I don't know about you guys, that if I overthink it too much, I just don't get anything done. So sometimes I just, you know, if I think that it looks okay, it's pleasing to my eye, and that's what collage is. It's just what's pleasing to your eye. Just get it stuck down, because otherwise I would get nothing done. So I'm not going to glue all the wings. I just want to leave them so that they're a little bit standing up on the page, on the card. I keep calling it a page, on the card as well. So while I'm just sticking my finger there to adhere that, I'm just making those pop up a bit. So there you go. So that just gives it another dimension, and just, I think, just finishes the card off actually. So that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. Okay. Oh, I'm melting here. So I'm just going to tear this, because I want to use this here, I think. Oh, look at that bee. Okay, I'm going to be very careful how I do this. So I'm just going to roughly tear out these pink roses and the bee. I'm really bad at tearing. Just trying to think. Sorry, going very silent there. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of blue in there. Just going to tear that. I just don't know whether I want that straight. I don't particularly like it straight, but I don't want to lose too much of the image. Okay, so I'm going to ink around that. Once again, you don't have to ink. I love my ink. Can't seem to put anything down without inking it anymore. Just going to roll some of that paper. Always make sure when you're rolling, if you don't want any white to show, just make sure you ink underneath as well. Okay. It's getting quite windy outside. I hope it rains. Might cool things down a little bit. I'm going to tear that off so it's not as straight. That's better. Okay, so that, and we need a bit of text. So I want the text this side. I want the text this side. I don't know now. Get rid of that. I don't know, I think I like the text on the left. I seem to be doing that with all of them, but I just like the balance of it, I guess. I know, why am I so indecisive? Okay. just going to put it on the right. And inking once again. So these, this is something that you can do in your journals as well. Do a little bit of texture paste on a page in your journal and layer it up with some different bits of, oh look at that, that says honeycombed. How convenient is that? Got a bee on there. Yeah, do these on your pages just for a little bit more depth as well. If you're looking for something different. I've done that before in a few journals, so this is where this idea actually came from. I've done it on a couple of pages and really liked it, so I just thought, oh, they'd look good on cards. So I'm just roughly going to glue that and pop it down. So as you can see, these pieces of card that I've used, they've just got coffee dye really random all over the place, but I like that. So yeah, I wouldn't use them for journal covers, but they come in handy for this sort of thing. So just going to pop that there. Just with your liquid glue again. Once again, you could use double-sided tape if you wanted to. But I just think the glue would adhere better to the texture paste. So I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. You can still see honeycombed there. So that's quite nice. Wonder if maybe we can just add a little bit of this, and I'm being very random now. Just to add a little bit of texture. So maybe we could do that. We could still even add a word. Find that happiness one now. Love might be. I need a bigger word, I think. Remember. Do remember. No, it could be used then as a sympathy card, possibly. So once again, I'm just trimming that down really roughly, and honestly, if it's not perfectly straight, it doesn't matter. That's the whole idea, is to make it look vintage and old. So very roughly inking around that word, and once again, I'm going to add it to some craft cardstock. Cut that out. You could even use a coloured cardstock if you wanted to. Like bring out the pink or something, or the yellow from a bee. No rules, just do what pleases you. I'm going to ink around that again as well, just to make it pop off the base. And as you know, I like to have my threads hanging as well, so I'll probably leave that hanging off there. there. Put it there. I'm going to stick that sari silk down. So I quite like that down there on the base. Stick that like that. And just where that I put sorry guys, I can't, I'm just trying to work out. Trying to work out where to put the word. It really shouldn't be that hard, should it? I think I'm just going to put it there, and you know what, I might even add a little charm or something to that. Do I put it there or put it coming off the page? I'm going to put it coming off the card. So obviously I don't want to cut off any of the words, so I'm just going to put it as it's coming off, and then I'm just going to trim that down. Hopefully that's straight. And maybe what if I add a little pearl or something on there? Let me just see what I've got that's close by. Have I got anything close by? Just bear with me guys, be 2 ticks. Oh my goodness, if you could see my mess, you would just die. I'm just going to pause you guys for a sec. I'll be back soon. Okay, I'm back. I just knocked a whole heap of stuff down trying to find these. So I was just thinking maybe with a bulb pen. I mean, I know it's adding bulk to the card and it's possibly something that you wouldn't post, but it's certainly, you know, something that you could give to someone personally, you know, in person. I'm just looking for an antique gold bulb pin. Let's add that to my pile. And I was just, I don't know, I was just thinking maybe one of these little pearls. I have no idea where my pliers are. They've gone walkabout. So this is one way to either stab yourself or ruin your little scissors. So it's something that I probably don't suggest that you do. But I just want to open that up so that I can get that other pearl off. Maybe. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add that to the bulb pin and just actually, hang on, I'll get this out of the way. Let's make another pile of mess. I'm just going to pin this. I don't know, it might be too much, but I'm going to pin this to the sari silk. And so it just adds another dimension. So I might even add a little bit of, actually that's what I could do, is just add a little bit of cheesecloth maybe, just to hide that pin a bit. So I would put the cheesecloth, so all I do when I do that is just cut a strip of cheesecloth. That's all you need, and just feed it on, folding it like that so that it just sort of gathers on the pin. Squash it in your fingers, pop your pearl on, and then just pin that through the sari silk. So that sort of covers, because the pin was like just showing it was quite nude looking, so it just adds another texture, and then just adds that little pearl there. Once again, fairly simple but quite cute, quite vintage looking. So I'm just going to ink around there, just make them a little bit darker. I'm going to leave those threads hanging, might trim them back a little bit. Trim it back a little bit, and then I'm going to add some tape, which I probably could have added before I put that pearl on, but anyway, it's all good. Sorry, just making sure I'm still recording. Once again, very randomly, just putting some double-sided tape down. It's so hot, I'll make sure I cover that ink up. It'll dry out. So just take all this off. Actually, I probably should have had a look what colour I'm going to put what base I was going to put it on. Didn't think of that, did I? I'll probably just put it on a craft coloured card base, I think. What have we got here? I think to be safe, I might just put it on one of these darker craft coloured. I haven't folded that either. So you're not thinking. I can ink around this after I've stuck it down, that's not a problem. So I'm just going to pop that on there. And sorry if my head gets in the way, I just need to try and square this up a bit. Maybe I'll do it this way. It's not perfectly square, but it's okay. So that's turned out quite nice, I think. So, and just to finish that off, I'd just ink around the edge of the card. I think doing the edge of the card first before you stick it down is quite nice, because you do risk putting more ink onto this piece that you've just stuck on there, adhered on there. But if you just add the ink, it just sort of frames it again. I can do the back after anyway, so I don't know. What do you think, guys? They're just a few little cards that you can make. Beautiful little greeting cards, even though it's the same sort of concept with the collage, they all look different, and adding a little bit of texture is quite nice as well. So so that's the Tuesday inspiration for this week. Hopefully I will have another video next Tuesday for you. Let me know if there's anything that you guys would like me to show you. Otherwise, I'll just be doing bits and pieces that will get me going, inspired, and get me going in my craft room, get ideas going and get things made. So that's the whole idea of doing Tuesday inspiration. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so, and welcome to all my new subscribers. It's great to have you with me, and as I said, just leave a comment below if there's anything in particular that you'd like to see. I hope I've inspired at least one of you, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Take care, guys. Bye bye.